Hello fellow Scale modelers, welcome back to another video with your host Ray. Today I've got 4 mini thunderbolt dioramas that I want to show you guys. So yeah, there's a decent bit to cover and a little announcement at the end. So yeah, let's get right into it. So as you can tell, these are all very similar. They have nearly identical mounts at first glance, obviously. They're very different once you get into like the specific details and all that good stuff. But yeah, I started working on these in early September and didn't finish them until earlier today. The reason for this was just due to a lack of, not lack of communication, but delays, I'd like to say. Delays in communication, which no one was at fault at, um, as well as personal life, like school and swim, so that ate up a lot of time, and yeah, now I finally finished them, I'm ready to ship them out. And these are the last custom HO scale Thunderbolts I will be building for anyone. It's taking too much time away from me, and it's getting way too expensive as well, so I won't be selling any more HO scale Thunderbolts to people. These are customs, by the way. They're I'm not keeping them. I'm selling them to someone. I'll put a link to their YouTube channel in the description. So let's start with the first one, the one that I finished first. So this Thunderbolt here is here. Let me try and zoom in on that for you. This Thunderbolt here is based off of the Thunderbolt 1000 that was located at Burns Park in Waterloo, Iowa. This one was I guess, a tricky setup. I'll bring you guys into the controls and all that good stuff. It was a tricky setup to do, but it wasn't too tricky to, like, conceive, if you will, because there was a lot of pictures that I had to reference, and it was just fairly quick and simple with this one. So here we are up at the head. You can see I did a lot of rust and paint chips to match the real one. The one in real life has since been removed, obviously. You can tell this one was quite old. It's from, I believe, the 1960s. Yeah, 1960s, and yeah, it's been replaced. So yeah, there's that. You can see I did a custom screen in there too, because the included screen in the kits, I honestly don't like it, so I figured I'd just do this while I was at it, and it turned out pretty nice in my opinion. I like it. I like the way it came out. Yep, so that's that. And here we are down at the controls. Now if the dang thing would focus. So yeah, you can tell there's quite a bit of details in here, and I'll try and zoom this out a little better for you guys because it's hard to see. There you go. So yeah, there's quite a bit of details, small wires and stuff. I would use a pointer of some sort, but I unfortunately don't have one to point out what I'm talking about, so yeah, you guys are just going to have to deal with that. So yeah, take a moment to look at it. Everything on here is hand-painted, except for the base coat of yellow. That was airbrushed. So yeah. Looks cool, and if you notice, I actually added a little cool little feature here, the blower base, the metal structure that the blower itself sits on. I added the back part of that right back here. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm pointing at, but it's this yellow line right here. Well, yellow sheet. So, oh wait, no. Did you guys see it? I mean, you guys should have seen it. Yeah. Over towards the back, you have some boxes and some power boxes and a meter. And of course, the conduit going up to the head. Alright, I'm going to take you guys off the support for a bit. So here's the pipe. It shifts in color quite a bit. It's quite interesting how it does it. I believe that's because of the separation of the pipe segments. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But it looks pretty cool having a multicolored pipe like that. It's not easy to do, but it is quite nice to do. Like, no, it is quite nice cosmetically. Here's our second Thunderbolt. This is the Thunderbolt 1000 that was located at Ellis Park in Waterloo, Iowa. This one was easier to replicate, but it was also kind of hard to do. There was a lot of guesswork that was involved due to a lack of imagery to reference off of. So, yeah, it was interesting. This one went by rather quickly from what I remember, and it was easy for me to replicate. I didn't have any issues with it, so that was really nice. So, yeah. I'll get up into the closer details. So here's the head. Now you can tell that it's definitely been repainted at some point because the original base color of yellow is obviously overshadowed by some sort of white paint there. Just like the real thing, I tried to achieve the effect as well as I could, but unfortunately I was unable to. And yeah, of course this thing rotates. And, oh god. Dang. fit on the head on this one is a little loose, if you will. But yeah, just gotta press it in. There you go. Okay. Also did a custom screen for this one as well. Wasn't too hard to do. Down to the blower and controls. Nothing too special here. The colors were kind of difficult to replicate on the blower, since part of the back part here was more faded yellow and this here was more orange, which was kind of interesting, but I won't complain. It wasn't anything too difficult. Yep. So there's controls, there's the conduit and all that good stuff. This, as I mentioned earlier, it was easy to replicate. Like the wire bends here, though, that was difficult. It took me about, what, 30-ish minutes to get the wires to cooperate and stay glued, because that's how my life is. The dang thing never glues. The glue never cooperates these days. Yeah. So that's nice. I'll take you guys off the support again. This one, you can see the blower pipe is all white. It's definitely been repainted in some way, or like something was done to it. Like cosmetically, at least something was done to it cosmetically. You can see the power disconnect was also painted white as well. So yeah, that's that setup. Coming on to the third one, here is the Ellis Park the Thunderbolt that was located at Ellis Park in Waterloo, Iowa. This one was an interesting one to do. It was somewhat easy. It was very easy to replicate, but it took me way too much time due to a lack of imagery. The Google Street View wasn't helpful enough to get to all the details that I needed to, and it was kind of hard to describe the details. So this one did take me a while, but it was still a nice one anyway. So yeah, let's get up to the details. Alright, sorry I can't get too much of a zoomed in view. It's just the way that the support is designed. I just can't get the phone to angle correctly. But yeah, here's the head. There's a few paint chips, a lot like the Ellis Park one. Not as many though, so that was a bit lighter on me. The cosmetic patterns were interesting on this one. I personally liked the way it looks. So yeah, that's nice. And the head rotates rather freely. There's your custom screen in there. So yeah, that's nice. And down to the blower and controls. You can tell the blower's definitely been painted or something was done to it because of the fact that it's a much lighter yellow color and, well, I should say a yellowish white or whitish yellow, whichever one floats your boat. And there's nearly no rust markings, while on the other ones, there's quite a bit of rust markings and paint chipping, so that's nice. And now you can see the simplicity of the setup. The wires are pretty straightforward. Nothing you wouldn't expect. This one was kind of, this setup is definitely significantly different compared to the other Thunderbolts that I built here. So yeah, you'll notice the orientation of the ASC radio here, and the disconnect is definitely different than the rest of them. So yeah, that's that. So I'll take you guys off the support again. The pole does have a few color fades here and there. Nothing too special like the Ellis Park one or the one I'm about to show you. But yeah, there is a color fade there, or a color change. Last, and I can assure you 100% not the least, the Thunderbolt 1000 that was located next to University Avenue in Waterloo, Iowa. This one was the last one I had to finish. I built this one last and finished it last. And let me tell you, this one was a little bit of a doozy because you can tell this one's definitely got a different conduit setup, which was very hard to replicate. But again, there's nothing I can't handle. I'm just kidding. There's a lot I can't handle. Yeah, but you can tell this one is awfully similar to the Ellis Park one. So there was a little bit of that was a little bit easier. Setup is nearly identical to the Ellis Park one, just a little bit of less boxes, and there's a little bit less rust on the head, but more rust on the blower. So I'll show you guys that right now. So here's the head. You can tell there's definitely not as much rust or paint chips as the other Thunderbolts, like the Ellis Park and the Ellis Park Thunderbolt. There's definitely not as much paint chips and stuff, which honestly looks cool. And I also would like to point out, this one actually still exists. Part of it is still up. The head and half of the pole is completely gone. It was just shut off. It was just cut off. But the blower, the pad, some of the control parts, and some conduit here and there, as well as some of the hooks and blower pipe, those still remain. So that's pretty cool. And the power disconnect, strangely, it's still in the up and on position, so there might be electricity going to it. So yeah, that's nice. Head rotates freely. Nothing too special about that. And now down to the blower and controls. Yeah, this one was kind of difficult to replicate. For some reason, you know, me being the dumb idiot that I am sometimes, I painted the blower before my client sent me any pictures of it, so I got some of the paint markings wrong on the front of the blower, and I had to redo that. And I ended up removing the entire paint coat, which was way more than I needed to. Originally, I had a lot of paint chips and barely any yellow on there, and it was supposed to look like this with a lot of yellow, so I intended just to remove the paint chips, right? And I ended up removing the entire base coat, so I exposed the bare resin itself, so that was kind of annoying to deal with, but I ended up overcoming that, so that was cool. Yeah, here's the rest of the setup. Yeah, a few details here and there, looks nice. And for the blower pipe, it's basically identical to the blower pipe pattern on the Burns Park bolt. So yeah, that's cool. And we're already 11 minutes into the video. I know this was a long video and I tried to go as quick as possible, but unfortunately it's already the end. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't want to hear the announcement, feel free to leave the video, and I'll see you next time. Now for the announcement. Earlier in the video I mentioned I would no longer be making HO scale Thunderbolt mounts for you guys, which it's sad on my end. I wish I could do it, but due to just difficulties with shipping and as well as the time constraints and the amount of communication I need to have, it's just too impractical. It was fun to do, but at the same time, for my well-being as well as your guys' risk of receiving a model that could be broken, because these things are very fragile and hard to ship, and they have broken before during shipping in a little incident that I will not explain because it's just gonna have bad publicity on my end. Yeah, yeah, the models have arrived damaged or broken to my customers before, and I honestly don't like to see that. So I won't be making HO scale Thunderbolts for people. However, that does not mean I am done selling HO scale siren stuff. I still am making custom siren kits for people, so if you do want to buy one, shoot me a message, and pretty soon I'll just open them up on eBay so anyone who searches it up can buy one, and I'll make it for you really quick. I'll do an announcement in a whole separate video on how to request a mini siren from me on eBay, and to point out any specifics and a ton of other details, but that doesn't pertain to this video. That pertains to the next video that I'm going to do on these. So yeah, and I'm also going to be selling mini Thunderbolt accessories such as updated screens, the screens and the horns that I showed you earlier. I'll be selling these, painted or not. I'll do that. I'll do that customizability option, as well as Thunderbolt blower bases. You know, the little part back here, that part. I'll be selling those as well. More information on that will come in the next video. But yeah, that's it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.